We just got to help her try to navigate it in the best way that we can. And from a coaching perspective, keep the main thing. Like, look, we want to protect her, certainly, help her protect her peace, and then help her continue to grow on the basketball court, help our team be the best team that we can be.
Stephanie White didn't just sip the tea. She spilled the whole pot. The Indiana Fever coach had some strong words about Caitlin Clark and the Fever, and let's just say, she didn't hold. But did she just light a fire under this young squad? Is she motivating them or throwing shade? Either way, this drama is hotter than an Indiana summer, and we're diving all the way in. Let's get into it.
Like in our industry, if you're not a competitor, you're not going to last. And it doesn't have to be to win at all costs, right? It's just how you do what you do every single day. Like for me as a human being, like if you're leaving your shopping cart out in the middle of the parking lot, I'm judging you. You're not going to be on my team, right? Like you're not going to be on my team. If I'm watching you and you're on the end of the bench with bad body language and not being a good teammate, like I don't want you on my team.
Stephanie White just did what we've all been waiting for. She spoke actual basketball words about the Indiana Fever's championship chances, and it made sense. That's it. That's the moment. Someone put this in the Smithsonian. Now, let's compare that to Christy Sides, who, bless her heart, seemed like she was coaching a middle school team that happened to have Caitlin Clark on it. Remember when she basically told Clark to not be Clark? That was like telling a dolphin to stop swimming and get a job. It just doesn't work.
Better than you found it. Peace. Throws up a peace sign. Don't let the door hit you in the bleep. Yeah, that's one thing you could throw out there, Christy Sides. Or actually fans could respond to her by throwing that out there. So, this is Caitlin Clark speaking about Stephanie White. I do find it interesting. It seems she's got, I guess, more interaction with Stephanie White than we might have known previously.
Let's be real. Christy had a generational talent on her hands and acted like she found an IKEA manual written in hieroglyphics. It was like she had a Ferrari in her driveway and said, "Hey, I'll take the bus." Now here's Stephanie White, who speaks fluent basketball and actually understands that Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's the player. She's the reason Indiana Fever games have more viewers than some NBA games. Stephanie knows the assignment. She's not out here treating Clark like an overpaid role player. She's letting her cook.
She's playing really well. She's shooting the hell out of the ball. And she's making sure she's finding those open players. She had some amazing assists tonight. Triple-double, second one for a rookie. Just really, really proud of her and her continue to keep her teammates involved, and then also just her growth. It's been great.
And White doesn't just get Caitlin, she gets the whole squad. She's not out here playing musical chairs with lineups. She's making adjustments that actually make sense. The Fever under Christy Sides? That was like watching someone try to solve a Rubik's Cube with oven mitts on. The Fever under Stephanie White? That's like watching a master chef perfectly plate a 5-star meal.
Anyone who watched the off-season workout footage of Caitlin Clark probably noticed the same thing. She looked like she bulked up a little bit. She looked like she got a little bit stronger. And that was confirmed by Fever coach Stephanie White.
Stephanie just spoke on the Fever's championship hopes. And unlike the word salad we got last season, this time it actually felt possible? Like, she's out here saying the quiet part out loud. This team can actually compete. Not just for a playoff spot, not just for a good season, but for a ring. Now, let's not get ahead of ourselves. This team still has work to do. But Stephanie White is out here making sense of the madness, and that's a breath of fresh air after last season's throw everything at the wall and see what sticks strategy. So, if you're an Indiana Fever fan, rejoice. It's a new era in Indiana, and it's about time. Stephanie White has entered the chat, and she's making it clear. The Fever are here to win, not just exist.
Not just from a conditioning standpoint, but from a rhythm and timing standpoint. So that becomes the next challenge. But getting more efficient in everything that we do. For us, moving her off the ball a little bit more so she's not getting worn out in game, just handling the ball 94 feet. And then we're challenging her on the defensive end of the floor as well, like being a better defender. You know, the best that for us as an opponent, you know, you want to attack a good offensive player by making him play on the defensive end, putting him through the ringer. You know, and so being a better defender, you know, and
Stephanie White has spoken. And when she speaks, you listen. Why? Because she doesn't just know basketball, she is basketball. She probably watches film in her sleep and runs practice drills while making breakfast. Eggs, bacon, and a perfect pick and roll all at once. This woman is serious about building a great locker room. No divas, no drama, no nonsense. You want to be an Indiana Fever player? You better bring that A game and that A attitude. Stephanie White wants the Fever to be a team. No solo acts, no one-man shows. We're talking chemistry, unity, the kind of teamwork that makes your high school coach shed a single proud tear. And if you thought being Caitlin Clark meant you got a free pass, nope. Stephanie White is making sure that even the NCAA's three-point queen gets her game leveled up. She might be the sharpest shooter in women's basketball, but Stephanie White wants more. More defense, more leadership, more passing that makes defenders question their life choices.
I felt like had the best year of her career, you know, this year. And really, when you think about teams, you think about a core three, right? You think about a big three, and to be able to work with that big three, and continue to work and put pieces around them to compete for a championship, back in my home state, it couldn't have aligned any better.
Stephanie White isn't just trying to win games, she's trying to build a dynasty. You don't just show up and expect greatness. You grind, you sacrifice, you buy into the system. Caitlin Clark is not carrying this team alone. This ain't a one-woman superhero movie. It's an ensemble cast. Think Avengers, but with better handles and fewer explosions. This team is about to click. The way Stephanie White talks about basketball, you can tell she's got the blueprint. She's the architect, the coach, the mastermind pulling all the right strings. So if you thought this was just the Caitlin Clark show, you might want to grab a seat. Because this is the Indiana Fever era, and Stephanie White is the director.
right? Like not so many turnovers, higher field goal percentages. She knows what's coming. I mean, you saw that throughout the course of last year. I remember sitting in a press conference about midway through the season and just, continuing to get asked about Caitlin Clark and Indiana. And I'm like, guys, like, just relax. Like, they're going to figure it out. They've got to learn how to play together. She's thrown into this league right away, and she's going to figure it out. And she did. And she's going to see all kinds of coverages. She's going to see all kinds of matchups. And so for us, working on how to become a little bit more efficient, and whether that's angles of attack, not avoiding, contact, how we get by people.
Christy Sides had Caitlin Clark running on fumes last season. There were times when it felt like Clark was doing everything: scoring, facilitating, running the offense, and barely getting a breather. She dragged the Fever to the playoffs, but at what cost? By the end of the season, she looked exhausted, and it showed in her performance. Sides didn't have many options, but her approach was clear. If Clark could walk, she could play. Now enter Stephanie White. You can already tell the difference. White isn't about to burn Clark out by Game 15. She knows that Indiana doesn't need Clark playing 38 minutes a night just to survive. And the biggest change? White actually trusts the pieces around Clark. The Fever front office did their job this offseason, adding serious talent to the roster. Clark doesn't have to carry everything on her back anymore.
Yes, she is stronger, first and foremost. And again, she's got a lot of self-awareness. And, she figured that out, right away. Like, I need to get stronger. I can't get knocked around as much. And so she's done a great job of getting in the weight room and really focusing on her areas that she needs to focus on in terms of strength, in terms of, low center of gravity, time under tension, like all of those things. I think the next step is efficiency. Right? Like not so many turnovers, higher field goal percentages. She knows what's coming. I mean, you saw that throughout the course of last year. I remember sitting in a press conference about midway through the season.
Last season, it was Caitlin or nothing. This season, it's Caitlin plus a squad. Aaliyah Boston is a year older, more experienced, and ready to dominate. Kelsey Mitchell is still a scoring machine, and now they've added more depth: shooters, defenders, playmakers. Clark isn't walking into a game thinking she has to drop 30 just to keep it close. White is building a system where everyone eats, where Clark's talent is maximized without being overused. One of the biggest changes White is making? Managing Clark's minutes smartly. Sides rode Clark like a racehorse, sometimes to a fault. But White knows there's a balance. Keeping Clark fresh means she'll be better in the clutch. She'll be sharper in big moments. And most importantly, she won't be limping into the playoffs on empty. And let's be real. Last year, defenses were throwing everything at Clark because they knew she was the entire offense. She'd see doubles, traps, box and ones, and still be expected to create magic every single night. Now, defenses have to pick their poison. Collapse on Clark, and you've got Boston feasting in the paint. Play her straight up, and you're giving the greatest shooter in college history open looks. It's a nightmare scenario for opposing teams, and it's all because Clark finally has the help she needs. Another thing White brings? Championship experience. She knows what it takes to win in this league. She's not experimenting. She's implementing a real system, one that doesn't rely on one player to do everything. Clark still gets to be the superstar, but now she gets to be a smart superstar, not a burnt-out one. This season is going to look completely different for Clark in the Fever. White's coaching style is about sustainability. It's about making sure that Clark is still fresh and dominant when it really matters. And the best part? We're finally going to see what Clark looks like when she isn't playing superhero basketball every night.
At every turn we take, every time we hear Stephanie White come out and speak about the Indiana Fever, speak about the Big Three, speak about the organization, speak about the face of the league, Stephanie White continues to show us this was the right decision that Kelly Krauskopf made, because at the end of the day,
DeWanna Bonner is bringing veteran leadership, elite scoring, and defensive versatility to this squad. She's already spoken about how happy she is to join, and let's be real, when a 5-time All-Star and 2-time WNBA champion is excited, that's a big deal. She's been with Stephanie White before, so the chemistry is already there. No adjustment period, no growing pains, just straight business. Then there's Sophie Cunningham. If anyone thinks Caitlin Clark is getting bullied out there, Sophie is going to have something to say about it. She's tough, she's gritty, and she plays with a chip on her shoulder. She's not afraid to get in someone's face, and now she's about to be Caitlin's personal bodyguard on the court. She's the enforcer, the one who makes sure Caitlin gets her shots off without getting mauled every possession.
And hopefully I can just provide the knowledge and explain playoffs to them a little bit better so we can be better prepared and don't get punched in the face the first game. And it's hard to come back when you do that the first game. It's hard to come back and try to win 2 straight against a veteran team. So I think they got it, and I think that it's going to be steps throughout the regular season that get us prepared for that, because every game, every single night is going to be hard. These teams have changed a lot in this league, and every team has loaded up and gotten better. So I think that the regular season is going to definitely prepare us for that.
Sydney Colson. Let's talk about it. She left Asia Wilson for Caitlin Clark. Let that sink in for a moment. We're talking about a player who has been part of a dynasty in the making with the Las Vegas Aces, a team that just won back-to-back WNBA championships. She knows what it takes to win at the highest level, and now she's bringing that championship mentality to a new squad. This isn't just a routine roster move. This is a statement. Colson isn't just some role player. Sure, she might not be putting up superstar numbers every night, but what she brings to a team is invaluable. She's a leader, a competitor, and a culture setter. Every championship team needs players like her.
All right, the jig is up, Kathy. And you guys can call me a hater from what I'm about to say. I don't care. I'm a big dog. I can stand on it. Kathy made the call. Kathy made the call because you mean to tell me that two-time WNBA champion, the face of the God Dog League, okay? The Aces' main girl, right-hand man, Sydney Colson, is no longer returning to the Aces and is signing with the Indiana Fever? First of all, do the Fever even have any more roster spots open? How many folks are you guys going to sign?
And let's be real, this move isn't happening in a vacuum. This isn't just a case of a player signing with another team because of money or opportunity. No, this is part of a larger shift happening in the WNBA. Teams are stacking up talent, building powerhouse rosters, and positioning themselves to compete at the highest level. The league is evolving, and Colson's move is just another example of that. She's aligning herself with something special, something that's growing, something that could be the next big thing. These aren't just random signings. This isn't just about filling out a roster. The pieces being brought in are calculated moves.
Are really not happy about this one. They are really not happy. Everyone is having to to realize, everyone's having to go back on what they've said. You've now got Sydney Colson signing for the Fever, and this one they're not happy about.
She's going to bring an edge to this team. She's going to hold teammates accountable. She's going to be the voice in the locker room that makes sure everyone stays locked in. And when the pressure ramps up, when the playoffs come around, when it's time to dig deep and find that extra gear, she's going to be the one who knows exactly what it takes to get over the hump. This move sends a message. This team isn't here to just compete. They're not satisfied with just making the playoffs. They're here to win. They're here to build something lasting. They're here to make noise. And if you don't see what's happening right now, if you're still sleeping on this squad, just wait. Because when the dust settles, and when the games start getting real, you'll see exactly why Sydney Colson made this move. She knows what's coming, and soon, so will everyone else.
Yeah, so, Asia. Nah, this is tough.
Stephanie White is the perfect coach to unlock the full potential of this Indiana Fever squad. She's been in this position before, leading the Fever to the finals in 2015, and now she has a generational talent in Caitlin Clark. White's experience, leadership, and offensive mind will maximize Clark's elite shooting, court vision, and playmaking. The Fever already have key pieces in Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell, players who can thrive in White's system.
The Fever did not come to play. They are on a mission to win now, like 2025 championship season incoming. They were so quiet during free agency. And in the past 24 hours, boom, boom, boom. Re-signed Kelsey Mitchell to a max deal. Picked up Natasha Howard, bringing her back to the Indiana Fever, where she was originally drafted. And then they just announced a three-way trade, sending Alyssa Smith to Dallas and Sophie Cunningham coming to the Fever. This team in 24 hours just got exponentially better. Starting five, Caitlin at the 1, Kelsey at the 2, Lexi Hall and Sophie can duke it out for the 3, Natasha Howard at the 4, Aaliyah Boston at the 5.
Clark will have the freedom to play her game at the highest level. White knows how to structure an offense that allows superstars to flourish while keeping the team dynamic strong. Expect an explosive offense, improved defensive schemes, and a team that competes at a championship level. Clark's ability to stretch the floor and create for others will elevate the Fever from a rebuilding team to a title contender. The chemistry between White and Clark will be key, and with the right system, this team will dominate. Indiana Fever fans should get ready. This is not just about development anymore. It's about winning. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.